Welcome to the Catrice Root Show. I am here with Descendent. Give us your name, how old you are, and where are you from?
Once again, it's your boy Descendant. I am from Newport News, Virginia, hip hop artist, currently out here in the BX Bronx, living my dreams. Sure.
Awesome. And just want to open up with just with your perspective on just what's going on. Like, what's your perspective on everything that's going on in this country right now?
My perspective is it's been the same thing that's been going on since before we were even born. So
Exactly.
to me, it's just another day in America. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Systematic racism, police brutality, sexism, ageism, classism, whatever you want, especially for Black people. To me, it's always been the same.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery hasn't quite ended; it's just reformed.
Right. And with that being said, like with the George Floyd situation, I know that you and the Black Lives Matter Greater New York went
Yeah,
out to
Black Lives
Minnesota.
Matter.
What
Mhm.
was that experience like just being out there?
It was during the day. Of course, it was more peaceful. We
Mm,
actually went to where George Floyd was murdered by coward racist police.
mm-hmm.
It was like a memorial, sacred ground, and the community actually was like taking shifts on blocking that section off with their cars.
Wow.
It was just really very peaceful. People, were cleaning up after each other, handing out free water and snacks, and the activists that was in that community were very welcoming to us. They allowed us to speak, and we let them know that, hey, we're not here to take over. We're just here to support any way we can. Unfortunately, there were a lot of agitators, a lot of undercover cops that
Mm-hmm.
were causing the mayhem, and the media wasn't letting the community or the people know that, and they try to make it seem like it was Black people or it was us. They even called our organization terrorists,
Mm.
and on the news, and told people on the news, tell us what hotels they're staying in, because they were going to try to throw the book at us. Honestly, after the country or the mayor calls you a terrorist for something you didn't do, it's like the Constitution doesn't really apply to you. So
Right.
we were on a run, trying to get out of there as soon as possible. So during the night, that's when the cowards, even though people were protesting peacefully, we were in front of the precinct and we were protesting peacefully. The next thing you know, all four buildings surrounding the police department were on fire. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
they were burning down police precincts. It wasn't, so people were, of course, looting, but it's just like everyone's focused on rioting and looting and not focusing on another Black man, another Black human being is no longer on this earth because of systematic racism. You know what I mean? Simply because he said, I can't breathe. We back here again, you know?
Exactly, man. And it's like, I like what you said, like, too many people are focusing on the rioting instead of focusing on what we're really supposed to be focusing on. The whole meaning of this, is because of yet another Black person died under injustice and police brutality. And with that being said, I was wondering, with the Black Lives Matter Greater New York, how did that come about? Like, has that always been around before you moved to New York, or did it happen with you and a few friends? Just how did you guys organize that?
Well, I'm just a member. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Black Lives Matter Greater New York has been around for 5+ years, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
The co-founders are Hawk and Shavonna Newsom. They are brother and sister. You
Okay.
may, the viewers out there may know them by Cop Watch on BT.
Mm.
They started this movement, this organization, way before I even moved to New York. I met them because Shavonna Newsom is actually running for Congress in the South Bronx.
Mm.
So people out there, if you're in the South Bronx area in New York City, make sure you go out and vote for Shavonna Newsom on June 23rd. I met them at a campaign fundraiser. I was performing there. A friend of mine by the name of Mark from the Resistance Company told me about the situation, and he wanted me to perform. I was like, sure. And you know how us artists are. It was just like, this is just a chance for me to perform, grab a couple of friends and be out. But you know,
Right.
it's after actually hearing her speak, it was one of the most powerful voices that I've ever heard running for office. No one, she sounds like her. Like she sounds like no one. It's not, she doesn't say what the average career politician would say. You know, she's a revolutionary. And when I also met Hawk the same night and I heard him speak, I felt like these are the type of people who are very like-minded, who agree on a lot of the same things. And I want to do everything that I can to help get her into office and become a member and help out with Black Lives Matter. So that's how that came about. And that
Wow.
was 6 months ago, December of 2019.
Okay. Wow. Man.
So
Um,
they've been doing it. So they've been on
Man, I'm gonna have to like really look up more on them because I'm like I've been seeing a few things of like what y'all been doing before the George Floyd. That's what caught my attention. It was the quarantine and coronavirus stuff that was going on. Y'all were, out there, protesting against like a lot of brutality with just people not wearing their mask, you know what I'm saying? And people were literally getting beat up for that. So as a matter of fact, speak on that as well. Like just what like how did y'all even get that together to just, you know, combat that?
it. Where it was just like George Floyd. It was a bunch
Mhm.
of videos going viral in New York City of Black people not quote unquote practicing social distancing. They're not wearing masks. When on a lot of the videos you see someone wearing a mask, and it's
Mhm.
like if they're not, why is excessive force being used? Why are they being body slammed, choked? Why are they being why is there 5 cops on one person? You know, why
Mhm.
are y'all putting y'all full body weight to arrest someone because they're not quote unquote they don't have a mask or they're not practicing social distancing? But if you go in the gentrified area or the white community in the parks, they're in the parks now. In the Black community, the parks were closed. The cops were handing out snacks and masks and educating them about the pandemic. So, Black Lives Matter of Greater New York was like, this is injustice. This doesn't make sense. Why is a black person's arm being broken or sprained because he doesn't have a mask, but someone who's at a park that supposedly is closed and you're just handing out masks to them. So
Right.
we did a caravan um, protest and we went to about 4 police precincts that had some type of complaint about police brutality or excessive force. And we kept on protesting and making it aware during press conferences until they changed the policy. So anybody, like I said, in New York that's listening, be in the Black community, you see the cops not doing that anymore. You got to think Black Lives, uh, Black Lives Matter of Greater New York, and you got to think Trevana and Hawk Newsom for that.
Yeah, because
Their
y'all really
leadership.
got some stuff done out there after that. I
Yes,
was like,
for
thank
sure.
you guys.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I just want to know what is some advice you would leave to just the entire Black community right now? Because um, like just after the protesting kind of calms down, what are some things that we can continue to do to continue to like be heard, if you get what I'm saying? You know?
Well, first you gotta never underestimate your voice, how
Mm-hmm.
powerful you are, how much power that you truly have. Get involved. You know, um, we always say that after the hashtag you post it on social media, what's next? Get involved in
Exactly.
your community. You know what I mean? If you know about any organizations, or Google organizations around your community and find out who is involved and get with like-minded people. I think that's the first thing. You know what I mean? Find
Mm-hmm.
out what you're passionate about as far as the change you want to see in your community. Find like-minded people or like-minded organizations. Join those organizations, or if you don't want to join, be a part of those organizations to help to see that change. I don't think it's I hear a lot of times that people don't know what to do. People don't know how to participate or don't know how to be a part of something. But I'm like, if you don't know, you just search it, right? Like if you don't know what time a TV show comes on, you know how to find it. You know, like search
Exactly.
in Google. if you don't know what time, when the NBA was, a game, you'll know how to find it. So it's just like, we have all the resources with the fingertips, with, power of our fingertips on our phones. And it seems like we don't want to use it for anything else but helping out our community. So I just think that's an excuse. So I would encourage anybody and everybody to get involved with whatever you're passionate about. You know what I mean? And get with like-minded people to do the same. Because, right now it's a trend, right? It's a trend to say Black Lives Matter, with the signs. It's a trend to go protest and post it on social media. It's a trend to use hashtags George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and all the other people, Black people who have lost their lives due to nonsense. But when that slows down, when that stops, and when what's next, and that's what's next. You have to get involved in your community by any means necessary.
Right. And even like, I just want to thank you because, like, before it was like, what, right before the George Floyd situation happened, I was already asking you, like, how can I research some stuff that goes on in Virginia just so I can,
Right.
like, be informed? And, like, you were just saying, like, you just got to look stuff up. He's like, because you were saying, like, a lot of stuff is not going to be accessible, like, straight through the news. Like, you legit have
Right.
to look it up. And so thank you for that. It was like, because we were literally just talking about that before the George Floyd thing happened. And I'm
Right.
just like, whoa, like now it's like everybody is aware of, you know, being more active and researching stuff on your own. Like you cannot depend on the media outlets to just throw stuff at you.
Right. You cannot depend on the news. First of all, the news job is not to, tell the truth. The
Mhm.
news is to just grab your attention. That's it. That's all they're concerned about. They want, even if they're wrong, they want to be loud and wrong. But if they get your attention, that's all they care. It's just, it's views, it's for stories to get you to watch, and that's all it's about. So for any news station that only promotes Black people in a negative light, why would you expect for them to be very informative about what's truly going on in the community? That's not their concern. They'll show you quote unquote Black on Black crime, like we're the only people in the world or in this country that kill ourselves or kill one another. When
Mhm.
if you live in a predominantly Black neighborhood and you have crime, of course you're gonna do crime where you live. Like this, that's what I'm saying. As far as Black on Black crime, there's no such thing. White people kill
Exactly.
white people. Koreans kill Koreans. Mexicans kill Mexicans. But you don't see that on the news. Why is that? So that should just tell you that we have to do our own research, read our own articles, books, and not rely on the media to give us the truth or to give us a story that we're.
Right. And just on a different tip, just kind of turn it a little bit. I just also want to ask about your collaboration with Chuck D, because I know that happened like right before the George Floyd thing too,
Mhm.
situation. And I'm like, yo, like I know that was somebody that you would always talk about all like
Yeah,
a lot when we first started, talking to each other on Instagram and stuff.
yeah.
And I'm like, wow, like you're really living your dream. Like you're collaborating with Chuck D. Like, just how did that come about?
Well, that came about back in 2012. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in the dumps per se, mentally, just where I was at, and at that time in my life. I was doing music. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. I felt like, I was hitting a glass ceiling and I wasn't growing as an artist the way I wanted to or the way I thought it would be. And I was just really in the dumps mentally. It's like, bro, it seems like this music thing is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at a dead end job. These two guys that was in the Marines approached me and it was like, hey, how long you been working here? How much you get paid? They do that, and they salesmen. They gotta sell
Right.
the organization. So they was like, come join the Marines. You get this salary, and they can pay your debt off. You can go back to school, and all of these things were sounding good because I was at a pretty much desperate in my life because it's like I don't see no way out right now. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what America likes to do too. You know, they like to put black people in positions that feel desperate, and we grab and reach anything that sounds good, but we're not paying attention to what it can actually do it wrong. So I got his card, and I was like, I'm gonna call you. You know, prior to that, beginning of January 2012, I actually sent Chuck D an email. This is when
Mm-hmm.
he was starting his radio station, rapstation.com. He was like, I'm accepting submissions, send your music in. So I sent this song called Through the Bars. That was January 2012. I haven't heard nothing from him after that. So I figured in my mind, after like 6 months, all right, he didn't like the song, it wasn't good to him, whatever. So the week go back to towards the end of 2012. Um, the week of me trying to get into the Marines, I get an email from Chuck D stating, "Hey, I like your song Through the Bars. Let the whole world know that I'm playing your song." I think he played it 2 or 3 times in one night,
Mm-hmm.
and he played it, and I still got the recording. I still have that email, and that was like my first email in Gmail, right? I still have it. So that's what like led my relationship with Chuck D. So it's been building there ever since. Unfortunately, I never met him personally.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been through communication through social media. I also want to give a shout out to Tim Onico, Malcolm Riddle as well. That's been helping that communication as far as the time I had the music. They make sure to give it to Chuck. Chuck likes it, he plays it. So that's how the relationship all started.
Wow, man. I didn't even know it started back in 2012. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, wow, man. And I noticed like also you have a lot of you promote a lot of your activism through your music. And I was wondering just what made you we already know Public Enemy, but also what made you want to start like just pretty much fully doing like promoting your activism and promoting just black unity in your music? Like what made you want to take on that rap style? And also after just taking on that rap style, what made you legit want to start just doing music videos and just slowly just becoming a activist in your own way?
That's a good question. It's a really good question. Well, first of all, thank you for pointing out that I've always been like this,
You've
because I
always
know
been like this, legit.
during this time, this is when people come out the woodworks with activist songs or uh, uh, positive songs as far as gearing toward what's going on. But
Mhm.
my music has always been this way, regardless if we know what the news or what social media says. I've always been promoting this type of music, right? It all started. I feel like it all started with since birth, really, man. This has always been in me. I always had questions about certain things, about why is there homelessness? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Why is, the country operates the way they do? I was always curious and always challenged those authorities in school or just in my mind. I remember when I was young, my mom may hate this story or may not remember, but we were snowed in. We lived in Maryland, and they had this huge snowstorm, and we were like snowed in for like, I don't know, for like a month, almost 2 months.
Mhm.
So we didn't have any school. So my mom would like give us these questions, learn timetables, addition and all that. And one of these questions that she had, it was like, what would you do if you had $1 million? My answer was, I would feed the homeless. And my mom laughed at me. And the person she was with, or the boyfriend, the person she was dating, laughed too. Like they laughed hard. And that's what I knew. Besides it like hurting my feelings as a kid, but I
Right.
knew then like I was different. I think different. So it's always been in me. And the spark I feel like that started that was my dad introducing me to Malcolm X.
Mhm.
It started with the movie. My dad had the movie. Ever since then, on to up until now, I've been on that journey. So those are, I know that was like a long-winded answer, but those are what started it all. So I've always been that way. I've always been researching, trying to find new ways, because, people like to put you in a box and say, oh, you're a conscious rapper or you're a positive rapper, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I'm a hip hop, I'm a rap artist. You know what I mean? I
Right.
tell stories. All my stories may not be positive. Everything I say may not be positive, but it's a reason behind it. And I think that's the difference.
Right. And honestly, like with your style of hip hop, you're legit like real hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate it when like say like rappers like us when we rap, overall like, family friendly content or pro black music, people put you like you said, they put you in a box. They don't just put you with hip hop because hip hop originated from your style of lyrics. So I'm glad like you pointed that out.
It's definitely it can get frustrated at times, but that's how the industry works. I noticed too. It's like they can't figure you out, then they'll try to put you in a box to try to figure you out to see what type of artist you are. And it's like, nah, I'm a rap artist. I can do any type of song anywhere I can. That's the beauty of rap music, the
Hmm.
beauty of hip hop culture. There's no quote unquote rule to it. You know what I mean?
Right. And before we go, I just want you to like just, plug in your merch. You know what I'm saying? I see you wearing the shirt. I'm really
It's
liking that.
funny you say that. I actually got new merch coming. This is the first time I'm saying this on a platform. I have new merch. My Crown clothing line, I like to call it Crown. I feel like
Mhm.
I call my fans crowns, and I call my music royalties. I feel like we all royalty regardless of what our lineage can lead us back to. So
Mhm.
I will have more of these Crown T-shirts, and I have a new Black Excellence T-shirts coming for Juneteenth
Ooh,
next week, and you definitely will be getting soon. So
awesome.
definitely you can check me out at Descendent MC. That's on all social media, Twitter, IG, and Facebook. So be on the lookout for that next week. And my album, which is A Voice for the Voiceless, is currently over 230 digital streams. So thank you all out there. I just hit 100 followers on Spotify, which is a lot of hard work. So I
Mhm.
appreciate everyone out there for listening, following. I'm working on a new EP as well. I don't want to give out the title just yet, but it's something totally different from what you have heard from me thus far. But I'm very, very excited to share with you all.
Yo, thank you. I didn't even have to ask you to like tell them your social media and your music. Thank you. Yo, but thank you again for coming on the show. I'm definitely gonna have you reoccur on this show as many times as you want, honestly. Whenever you
Yeah,
release
we need a part
music.
two, man. We
Yeah,
definitely need
we
a part
need
two.
like a more in-depth part 2, part
That's
3,
a
part
fact.
4. And like I said, whenever you release new music, please come back on the show and promote it on here. Oh, and one last thing before we
Yes.
go, I always like to leave off with one last question. If you could give any advice or inspirational quotes to any up and coming artist or content creator, what would it be?
The smartest thing you can do is not give up. I know that sounds cliche. I know you heard it a lot, but that's the smartest thing you can do is
Hmm.
choose to keep going. If you really firmly believe in your craft, in your art, in your creativity, the best thing you can do is never give up. Continue, see it through until it becomes a reality.
Yo, thank you. Well said. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show. We will definitely have a part 2 and some more. And yo, just thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate the opportunity. Peace, y'all.